Hello everyone, my name is Aaron, and this is going to be the first episode of what we were originally going to call Dark Discussions. However, we are trying to find a new name for that, as I've discovered it's been taken. Today I'm joined by my friend
Vladimir,
and we are kind of, you just kind of said it like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a substitute teacher's trying to call names. Sorry, it just caught me off guard. But, long story short, I wanted to start a discussion about some of my favorite topics, the dark, the morbid, the curiously fascinating, and stuff like that. And I found a very interesting case that Vladimir has not heard. Now, I've told you as little as I can about it. We are discussing the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter. It's a case that happened in 1955, just at the end of summer in August. August is the hottest. We know that being Houstonians.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you hear stories about aliens all the time. You hear about abductions. You hear about, encounters out in the middle of the field, lost times, stuff being found in people's arms, random metal objects, stuff like that. But this encounter is very unique. Long story short, whenever you think of aliens, what do you think of?
Grays, the big black.
Yeah, like the weird, mostly human-looking. Some theories I've suggested that the main idea of the grays, as we know them, the little 3-foot-tall gray skin, big-eyed fuckers, that they're like some form of humans that have evolved eons in the future or some shit like that. That's one thing I heard floating around on the internet. But this, I say goblins, and I really mean that. That description could not be any more apt. Now, I'll talk about it a bit more, but these were creatures that were about 3 feet tall, big eyes, and what looked like big ears, think bat ears.
So I'm just imagining.
Massive things.
Yes.
And I know we have your laptop here. I can probably pull up pictures here when we get to it,
yeah.
And I'll show you some pictures. And when we get the website going, I'm wanting to add a lot of these pictures and the artist drawings that the police took, because they're really interesting and surprisingly consistent from one image to the next.
Okay.
And there's only a couple key players that really talk about this, but there's a lot of information I couldn't really dig into and find without going past 10 websites, 15 websites to really get into obscure places. And I wanted to, but at the same time, it was taking a lot of time, and I didn't feel like this was the setting to get as 100% accurate information as possible. I like to get close to accuracy with all this information, but at the end of the day, we are just relaying stories.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go too far into it. So if there's something I may say that's wrong here or there, or maybe I get a fact that's just slightly wrong this way or the other, that's fine. That's the whole point of adding discussion. That's the whole point about talking about things. We learn and educate each other. And so today we are going to go ahead and talk about the Kelly-Hopkinsville Goblins. And that is not going to be the last time I mess that up. I have messed up saying that so many times for some reason. So this happened in a little area in Kentucky called Christian County, between what I think they said was a parish of Kelly, very, very small, smaller than a village, and then the small town of Hopkinsville. There was the little farmhouse called the Sutton family farmhouse, which is the main family that lived there, but they also had some friends that were there. And during the night of the encounter. So all around, I've heard between 10 and 12 people were there total. Various, other people saw some things here or there, or heard some things here or there that weren't actually at the farmhouse. So there's a lot of, he said this, she said this, as I'm sure I'll find in numerous stories that we research.
So this place is very Bible Belt, middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's also 1955, after World War II, very small town family, still Southern, very Bible Belt, like you said. Which does kind of come up with one of the family members, and I'll dive into that when we get there. But one thing that really surprised me was that the first website that I found about this was the Mothman Wiki.
Oh.
Yeah, which was interesting. Apparently, this is considered part of Appalachian, or Appalachian as I keep hearing it's called, folklore in that area, that region. Which is it's not something you really think of as having folklore, but it makes sense. Folklore stories that we say colloquially, orally through time and whatnot, and stories evolve, it happens. And then there's some comparisons that were made with Mothman specifically. I know you and I talked a little bit about, what we kind of imagined with this podcast. I know primarily it's mine, but I also wanted to open the opportunity if you really want to, if you in the future, if you really want to dive into it, it'd be something to talk about. And you mentioned Mothman, how that was one of your references about how you wanted to do research stories like that, where everyone's got, tales saying this, that, and the other, how many people saw it and all that. And it's kind of curious because this happened to a whole family.
Yeah.
And with Mothman, it happened with several different people over a period of time. With this case, there is something to that degree, but it would probably be worth talking about in its own video down the line, because it happens with, I believe, a small town called Hellier, Kentucky. Very close to this area, but happened in the early 2000s, I believe. So similar stories, similar events, but how it plays out is very different. This is going to be a very dramatic story. This all started, it's August 21st, 1955, Sutton Family Farmhouse. Like I said, there's conflicting reports of how many people were there. One number that I saw was that there were 5 adults and 7 children that went to the police station, after all these events happened. So I'm going to stick with that number for now, because some of these reports and things were given by people who I didn't find names for, but reportedly seeing some things like lights in the sky or hearing gunshots that, corroborated some information. So if you ever get confused by who said this, who said that, I can give you what I found, but I'm not going to say this is 100% right. So one of our most important characters, his name is Billy Ray Taylor. Taylor was not a Sutton himself, but was very close friends with the family. He was close friends with a man named Lucky. Now, he and Lucky were old friends. They used to play pranks on each other in the family all the time. Nothing major, but, poking fun, there's nothing wrong with that. Billy was in his early 20s during the night that this happened, and I remember reading that he had, gotten thirsty, so he needed to go out for water. Now, keep in mind, there's no plumbing, They had a well, like a well. You go out there, pull out buckets, and you drink from that. Mm-hmm. There's no electricity in this house. Everything's run by gas. So it's as about off-grid as most of us think we'd be comfortable with, but reality is we probably wouldn't be. Yeah. But he goes out there for a drink of water, right? He's going to refresh himself, and then all of a sudden he looks up, and he sees this bright light in the sky, right? And he hears, I believe, my notes are kind of a little messy, but he claims to spot a metallic object that's flying through the sky. And then the sky kind of emits this low glow in the trees around their property. And it doesn't, okay, no, what I thought was that it made a sound. I'm wrong. The thing that really was confusing was the fact that it made absolutely no sound throughout the whole time it's going through, the sky. We think Hollywood, we see meteorites going through the sky, we hear roaring or something. We see shuttles and we see those fire that from friction, ripping around it, and we think loud sounds like burning or something. Yeah. This had absolutely no sound. Not until it landed with a really loud thud. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in that situation, I'm going to flip the shit. I'm going to lose my mind, What would you do? Like, you'd freak the hell out.
Yeah, I might be paralyzed from just the fear alone. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But we don't live out in the middle of nowhere, Mm-hmm. We live in a city, so it's much less likely for it to happen. But at the same time, in a city, if I were to tell somebody in the city, I'd have more chance of someone believing me here than I would out in the middle of nowhere. So, but it's because of that weird nature that I actually tend to believe this story more, because it happened in the middle of nowhere. And you're going to see other reasons why I think so. Some people think that they made up the story to sensationalize, whatever nuance and just make money off of it. But I disagree with that. And like I said, I'll get to that later. So anyways, Billy Ray spots this thing going through the sky, right? Mm-hmm. He hears it crash, loud thud. There's a small glow from behind the trees and all that. He's freaking out. He doesn't know what's going on. So he runs back inside the family household, right? And so then he's trying to, explain to everyone what's going on. One of the people that he's talking to, her name is Glennie Langford. This woman is actually like the matriarch of this whole thing. She's the father of the Sutton children, even though she doesn't share the same name. But she's, like I said, she's the matriarch. She's the, grandma of everyone, everyone's comfort. Very religious woman, but also knew Billy Ray Taylor and Lucky. They were childhood friends. Lucky is her son. And so whenever he comes inside, he's telling people he saw a UFO. They all obviously thought it was a joke. Maybe it's another joke that he's playing, trying to get a rise out of somebody, get a laugh out of it. Here's the problem. Normally when, I play a joke, I have a hard time keeping my laughter in. You can see the smirk on my face if I start to break down. Most people would.
Yeah, most people.
He's not breaking. He's just straight. He is deadpan serious. Like, no, he's going to say he saw it till the day he died. And, they start, they don't believe him, but they know something's up. So Lucky decides that he's going to join him. They're going to go back outside.
Yeah.
Really try to investigate, be rational. Maybe you saw what you saw, maybe you didn't, maybe we can figure this out.
Which honestly makes sense. I investigate whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So far, I am with Lucky. I like this dude. I'll get the aspect of being funny, but then there's also that point where it's not a joke right now. Like, I need you to be serious. And this is where, like, I'd probably be a little asshole, annoying, Billy, but I would probably do the same thing and be like, yeah, let's go take a look at this man,
Yeah.
So then they go to go see the possible crash. However, they couldn't find any smoke in the twilight. However, their attention was drawn towards, a dull glow low to the ground in the trees. It began, as they get closer, they can start to make out a shape, right? And they start seeing the small creature. It appears that their legs have been atrophied. They have shriveled up from no use for so long. That's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. That basically straws. It's the easiest visual I can try to give you. And they have these long, thin arms. They had a large glowing eyes and apparent large ears, and this is where that Mothman connection I was talking about comes into play, because then people start thinking, what if it was an owl? That was a very similar explanation given to a lot of Mothman, encounters. Maybe it was a barn owl or something like that. Yeah. Given the description, you see how an owl is flying, and then whenever we pull it up and I show you what they look like, you might start to see how people could think that. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
However, I personally don't believe it's an owl for a variety of reasons, which we're gonna get to it. This is what I call the calm before the storm. You know what's coming, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they see these creatures. They have large glowing eyes with apparent large ears, and they seem to float above the ground. That's important.
That's really
exactly.
Weird.
They seem to float, but it's because they seem to float that a lot of people come to the maybe it's just an owl coming in for like a landing, a graceful landing, or something like that. Seems a little bit of a far stretch for me, but that's another explanation that people try to throw out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got lost in my notes for a second. So they see this. Now, of course, in their mind, it's something ungodly. It's not something from here. Obviously, they're freaking the fuck out. It's not just Billy anymore. It's Lucky too. So they run back inside. They slam that door shut. Glennie comes out, and tries to talk to them for an explanation, but she doesn't believe them. She's thinking maybe, this really is a joke, more elaborate, but it's still a joke, Not plausible deniability. I completely get it, that sense of like this is a little bit more elaborate, but it's well within possibility of what they're going to do. But she didn't want to scare the kids, obviously, because, any ghost stories or whatever can really, scare a child. She just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So she sent them off to bed, right? And then that's whenever Lucky and Billy actually went to go grab a shotgun and rifle, respectively, to defend their farmhouse. They are sure they saw what they saw, right? I mean, granted, you saw something you don't recognize. Odds are you're going to try to find something to protect yourself. You don't know if it's going to hurt you. You don't. So that's when Glennie soon noticed a small figure near the rear where Billy was. He took his rifle and shot at it through the screen door. Here's the interesting part that really got me hooked into the story. At this point, I was like, it's whatever. It's probably some paranoid dude, whatever. That's what I thought up until this next fact. When it hit with a metallic clanging sound, like you were banging a pot and a pan together or something like that. It stumbled back and then it ran into the trees like it wasn't injured. But it's the fact that it made that metallic clang whenever it hit this fleshy-looking creature. That's what really caught my attention.
That's pretty weird.
Exactly, and that's another reason why people attribute this more to an alien. Of course, with the metallic object coming out of the sky, it's starting to ring alien. So now, more assured of what they saw, what they saw. Billy now heads towards the wood, rifle in hand, where the roof, he starts going out the screen door. I can't remember if it was the front or the back, but Billy goes out, right? And you know how a lot of those porches, they'll have that roof that hangs over and all that. Well, what happens with Billy is that he's going out, and from the roof, a hand comes down. Yeah, where he can't see that. So a hand's coming down and makes a grab for his hair. Like, just imagine, hands coming down, you're walking out, you look for something, just you feel that little few fingers just running off the back. Oh, dude, I'd lose my shit. I would freak out.
No, that's a big old so.
Yeah, that's a note for me. That's a no for me. So
I'm out of there.
Yeah. So another minor character, Eileen, Alene. I believe it's Eileen. I don't really know. I'm just going to go with that for now. She's another person I believe is Billy's spouse. I'm not too sure, but she was standing behind him, and when she saw that hand, she grabbed the back of his shirt and ripped him back inside. Lucky came after that, after hearing some of the commotion, and he actually went out, aimed at the roof, and took a shot. Another metallic clang. He hit it, but of course the creature fell, ran into the woods, seemingly fine. Like it was nothing, And obviously, no need for hyperbole. One of us gets shot with a shotgun or a rifle. It's not going to just fall off of us. We're not going to get up,
Yeah.
So for the fact that these little tiny things that look like they're an inch away from death, all gray and decrepit and all that.
Now, it does say something that they did run into the woods.
Yes.
They're not invincible from what I can gather.
No, and I'm going to probe that idea a little bit later when we get into some evidence after the whole fiasco.
All right.
Because there's going to be one or two things that you might pick up on that leads into that as well. But, like I said, Lucky came, took a shot on the roof, creature fell down, and ran inside. Now, here's another big person who was involved. His name is JC. JC then collected his shotgun, which I believe was a brother of Lucky or a cousin. I can't quite remember. Didn't really think it was necessary.
Yeah.
Like I said, the importance is the events, not really how everyone's related in this story. So JC goes and collects his shotgun and joins Billy and Lucky. So now that everyone's got somewhat of grasp, like something's out there. They know something's out there. Everyone's trying to talk and be rational and think what's going on. What they saw, and this is where Glennie starts talking. Like I said, she starts coming up with ideas before anybody could really get a clear discussion comes out. A shrill scream of a child can be heard down the hall. Yeah. So as this child is coming running down the hall, you just hear babbling and crying, talking about a strange face with large glowing eyes in the window. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. That to me is nightmare fuel. I couldn't do it if I woke up and just saw a face in my window. Well, especially because I sleep on the second floor, so if I saw a face in my window, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Have you ever seen that movie, The Fourth Kind? I think it's The Fourth Kind.
Or is it like a...
It's like a mockumentary, found footage kind of thing.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I just don't personally think I've seen it, because I know there's or is it like the third encounter, the fourth encounter, or something like that?
No.
Because I know there's a third encounter, and I think
like
there's one that's after that.
One of them is like the seems appropriate one. This one's a found footage one. But the point I'm trying to make is there in that movie, it's a mockumentary, it's not real.
Yeah.
But based on like real events, of course, you know, inspired by them. The idea of the aliens looking through the window is like burned into my mind.
I got that because of Signs. Now, I will say Signs is one of the greatest accidental comedies.
Dude, that movie is... I think it's great.
No, I think... Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's a great film. I just don't think it's, you know, an alien horror film. I think it's an accidental comedy.
That first time you see the alien, though, that spooks the fuck out of me.
In the footage is the part that really got me, you know?
Section.
Well, in Signs, okay, there's that clip that was circulating from, like, South America or something. It was a birthday party. Yeah. And then you just see the little thing just walking through, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Dude, I saw that as a kid. That chills down my spine.
See, and same thing. It delivered a very powerful chill. It's like, these things are coming everywhere. We got a brief glimpse of what this fucking thing looks like, and from what we see, I want nothing to do with it.
Imagine seeing that shit in real life.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, it just has to be unrecognizable, and it's enough to scare you. I mean, there's a whole... psychological research phenomenon called the uncanny valley, which displays into stuff that looks human enough that you can recognize it, but is not human enough that we can consider it human, and it falls in this weird, uncomfortable valley.
Yeah. It's not animal, it's not human. It's
or robots too fall into this category, or obscure paintings.
Robots. Yeah,
dude. Androids are a discussion for another time, because there's an android called Sophia.
Oh, dude, I heard about this one. Yeah.
We're going to talk about Sophia at another point if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Sophia's interesting, but it verges on probably a very long discussion that may span a few episodes into AI, the future, possibilities, pros and cons, and all that. But like I said, another time.
Yeah.
You know, Sophia is a great topic, though. But yeah, it's just... So, the children are now screaming.
Yeah.
They see a face in the window. They describe basically the same creature that they saw. So, you know... Oh, 1 second. I lost where I was in my notes.
We were talking about the kid.
Yeah. I know. I'm just... So, Lucky asks Lenny to take the children into a room near the rear of the house. You know, be away from everything. You know, protect them while we go and protect the property and all that. So JC then goes to join them, you know, Lucky and Billy. And then that's when another scream was heard as another face showed itself in that window in that room. You know, JC fired, and with another metallic clang, you know, it fell and then retreated into the woods. So now, you know, you're shooting at the roof, you're shooting at the window, you know, and these things, they're coming. But it seems like they're displaying a sense of curiosity more than maliciousness. The only thing that I would say was malicious was the attempt at, you know, grabbing the hair. But again, just trying to take a step back, it looks more like genuine curiosity from a toddler, you know. That's how I see it.
Yeah. That being said, they might also feel a little threatened by the shotguns.
Granted, you know, they know they're getting hit with something, you know. Or they could just not... It could just be a lack of understanding. If, let's play devil's advocate, say these are really aliens, they crashed another world and all that.
Yeah.
They probably have their own way of living in society and have their own progression of technology, history, economics, whatever. They have their own society. And so coming to us, we probably seem so unbelievably primitive or something, or just so out of left field that they're just genuinely curious about us.
Yeah.
You know? And then they just don't know what to do. Obviously, they're not going to die. Whatever's protecting them is, you know, saving them from dying from gunshot wounds. You know, so they're not really worried. They know that it's like probably when we discovered fire. We know fire hurts us, but, you know, we can learn from it. We learned to cook our food from it. We learned to heat forges with it. We learned how to use it to apply to various industries. You know, cauterizing wounds in medical industries, causing, you know, special chemical reactions in chemistry, you know.
Yeah. Decontamination
for food safety. Like, there's a lot of stuff. So, again, I think that they're more of this just curious than anything at this point. But that's just my personal opinion. Because, like I said, there's various tellings. Some are a little more dramatic. Some are a little more aggressive. So it's really what you read and what you're willing to accept. So, like I said, JC fired, hit the window, and the creature fell. and ran into the woods.
Yeah.
You know, then you start hearing some scratches, you know, on the roof and all that, and faces start appearing in the windows all around the family, and the family ran outside. You know, they don't want to be inside anymore because they think that these things are going to, you know, come inside and get them. Now, the whole family's standing outside. You know, JC, Lucky, Billy, they got their guns. They're protecting everything. Trying to. They can see around, you know, a few yards, and they see a few faces here and there. And I believe at some point they said that they at most was probably 12 to 15 of these things. Now, they didn't see them all at one time. You know, a lot of them, you know, came one at a time and ran away. There's a few times where they only saw 2 or 3 at a single time. But, you know, 12 to 15, I think, is a very fair number, given the fact that we're about to find out that these creatures showed such a fascination towards the children. But obviously Billy, Lucky, and JC were going to keep them back, you know. And, you know, through the whole course of this incident now, over 100 shots were fired. Now, keep in mind, you know, 12, 15, and they're not dying. That's, I don't know. Part of me wants to say that's a bit overkill, but at the same time, part of me was like, did you even do enough, dude? Like, these things are not dying. You got to find something. You know, a bunch of these little bastards are coming out of the forest. You know, they're trying to take your kids. Yeah, you're going to tear your place up trying to defend yourself because these things are obviously not quitting, you know? And this activity was going on long enough that around 11:30 is when it finally, you know, started to die down. There's a lull of activity, you know, and this is where the family thinks, you know, now's the chance. So the family decided to hop into the 2 trucks that they had, and they went to Hopkinsville to go talk to the police, right?
Yeah.
And so the police, the desk sergeant there, obviously, you know, he's not going to believe this preposterous story. However, it's pretty apparent that everyone's visibly shaken up about something. Now, they told them about the gunshots and everything, so at the very least, knowing that there's gunshots, you know, there's something to investigate. He wants to make sure no one's dead, you know.
Yeah.
So, obviously, he calls around, you know, to the appropriate people to try to help investigate this. But how do you investigate alien encounters? It's not really
Something we're quite...
Yeah, there's no procedure to that shit. So, obviously he didn't take them very serious. However, he did what he needed to do, called the right people. In total, about four city police, Hopkinsville City Police, 5 Kentucky State Troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police officers.
A lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're going to start to see what they find. So the 4 MPs came from the nearby Fort Campbell, and this is where a lot of people really start also saying that the military was involved because the military police was there. However, there's no evidence to suggest that any FBI or major government or military agency really came in to investigate.
No, that being said, even if they were there, I don't think there would be evidence,
right,
one way or the other.
Fair, but you know, I take my facts where I can get them.
Yeah, definitely.
So if it happens, I don't have the evidence to prove it.
That's right.
All I know is, you know, 4 military police officers there, 3 deputy sheriffs, and all the other state troopers and police officers. They were there.
Yeah.
You know, it's documented. There's people alive today that can tell you that they were there.
We're just looking at...
just looking at the facts.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they discovered tons of gunshots everywhere in the house, broken windows, roofs, tree branches, the yard. You know, all damages to the Sutton home that, you know, was talking about, that you would expect from the story that they just told you. However, they don't really find any evidence about these little creatures. There's no footprints or anything. There's no dead bodies, you know. However, 2 officers did spot something glowing in the trees, but like I said, they didn't find any beings. So there was still mild something going on, but nothing to say this happened because this thing, you know, and then, yeah, none of that. However, there was also a spot near where Lucky shot one of the creatures, and it appeared to have been a stain where it had a very odd looking sheen when viewed from a certain angle. You know, kind of like I want to say, I believe it's called translucent properties, where it's like in the oil and the soap films that you can find, where if you look at it at the right light, it has that weird color.
Like a rainbow kind of.
Yeah. I believe that's what they were talking about, but it wasn't oil, it was no soap or nothing like that. It's just weird stain that had a weird sheen, you know. So like I said, it's little things, you know. But being the outsider coming in, you can't say what it is, you know.
By the way, something I'm just thinking about.
Yeah, what's up?
When you mentioned that they did find evidence of guns being shot and damage. I really kind of feel like this helps a little in me wanting to believe this story, because I don't think this family would destroy their house.
Well, yeah, and I personally do believe. However, there are, and I will talk a little bit later when we talk about, you know, delving into a bit of theories about what happened. You know, one of the biggest being that this was just a big promotional stunt.
Yeah.
But you're going to see real soon the coverage that it gets. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
So, yeah. It is one of those stories, though, that blew up like a flame in its time, but it's not something that really lasted in the long run. Because it just delves into obscurity. But, like I said, you know, after all this was going on, the family, you know, everyone who was present at the house, they were all interviewed, and they all gave strikingly similar accounts to everything that happened, even down to the descriptions of the creatures that they saw. Even some of the drawings, like I said, we'll show you here in a sec if you want to get your laptop open.
Yeah, pull that up.
Yeah. Because there's a couple things I want to show you. And maybe we can even pull up some other facts I didn't quite write down that I know of. But like other things was that neighbors did claim to see strange lights near the farmhouse too, you know, and even hearing that there was gunshots in the area. The problem is that the neighbors thought that they were fighting off wolves trying to protect their pigs, and that's why they were shooting all the guns. So they didn't really think it's something to really get involved in with, you know. It's like, oh, just farmer neighbors protecting their livestock. We get it. Happens. Exactly. It makes complete sense, you know. So and these are those incidents where I can forgive bystanders, because it is such an extreme circumstance. And so Occam's razor, we're going to want to tend to believe the most likely story, you know. They believe, I said wolves, it was bobcats. You know, I know we deal with wolves and coyotes here in Texas, you know, but bobcats in the mountain region. I kept saying wolves so many times whenever I was researching this, and every time it was like, no, it wasn't wolves. I don't know what it is about me and wolves.
That's cool.
But, you know, so they go back to the house, you know, they try to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Oh.
later around 3 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Glennie claims to see another face in the window.
Oh, they're not gone. Look at that.
They think so. They think that they're still there. So Glennie is obviously like, nope. And everybody gets up, they get in the trucks, and just fucking leave the property. And then the following day, neighbors went out to the house to try to discuss the events, try to figure out, you know, really what happened. And that's when they discover that the home's empty. This starts to spark a little bit of discussion about what happened to them. Maybe they were taken, you know, but obviously they just left, because we do hear from them again.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, they do come back.
That's good.
But like I said, the following day, they discover everything was left. You know, over the following months, you know, this is where the media circus really takes hold. You know, it's like a lit match in a bonfire, just erupts. You know, everyone's trying to get an interview with the Sutton family. Everyone's trying to get the scoop. You know, at first, you know, the family agreed because they wanted to, you know, get the story out there. You know, let them know what the fuck they suffered. But then they started to wise up, and they didn't want to talk about it because people were trying to take advantage of their interviews and just raise their fame. They didn't care about what happened to this family. They just cared about their scoop. Hence why the family decided to retreat, back away. They didn't want to be in the limelight if, you know, they weren't just going to be taken seriously. If they were just, you know, the next media circus. And, you know, they those who did get an interview, they noted how, you know, when you read back these different newspapers, which a couple of them I glanced through, you know, different reports that I could find. But like I said, I wasn't trying to solve who killed JFK, so I'm not going through all those. I'm not going that far. But, you know, just glanced over the basics of the stories that were written in these articles, and a lot of them were very similar accounts. You know, they talked about, you know, the faces, they talked about the metallic clangs, all the gunshots, seeing, you know, there's even to the descriptions of the characters.
A lot of consistency.
And that's where I'm thinking, okay, no, this shit, something happened. Even if it's not this, something close to this happened at least.
Yeah.
That much I can say for sure. You know, if it's a couple people, you know, maybe it's a form of mass hallucination or hysteria or something like that. But you got people of all age ranges, people outside of the family, even some evidence from, neighbors and just people on the road. Even you have all these different police officers coming to look at the events, and you just find these little things here and there that just adds to the mystery. It's really hard to say nothing happened. It's really hard to give a down to earth, explanation for what happened.
Even if it wasn't aliens.
Exactly. Even if it wasn't aliens, something happened. That much I will be able to forever say is true. But like I said, those who did get an interview noticed that their stories were the same. They were ironclad. They never broke away from the original narrative. Which is always something to note, because it's more or less true that liars will constantly have to reinvent their story. It's hard to remember a lie, but you never forget a memory. More or less. Yeah, of course we forget memories. Memories change. There's more than enough evidence. But discussions for another time, because there's actually other stories I found where memory is a very big element. Mm-hmm. So, a bunch of old geriatric people, Alzheimer's, stuff like that. Like the case of Benjamin King, I believe is his name. Mm-hmm. A dude who he lost his memory behind a Burger King. And for like 12 years, he was the only person who had who was clinically dead but not dead,
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was alive and well, but he had no social security, no driver's license, nothing.
He basically didn't exist.
Well, everyone knew that this dude was alive, but they didn't know who this dude was, so they couldn't give him anything. It was a whole fiasco. But like I said, that's again a discussion for another time.
Yeah, we got a few of those.
Yeah. But eventually the family, a few months passed, and then the family decided, we're done. We're going to leave. Because, of course, the media circus was horrendous. Everyone's trying to get the latest scoop on these people. They're trying to pry in too much.
And they want to be left alone.
Yeah, they want to be left alone. But there's another thing, too, is that there's also a lot of people who would come in, unwanted callers would be harassing them, people who would try to get their morbid mementos from the house or whatever. Uh-huh. And you're getting a lot of this. It's a lot of social pressure you don't want, you don't need. But that isn't the biggest reason why they left. The biggest reason, obviously, that they left was because the lingering fear that those little goblins are still out there, just waiting. And one day they'll come back.
I think that's fascinating that this family... By the way, you can tell... Oh, yeah, go ahead. You can tell that I feel like it's more believable when people don't want to be associated with this event too much. I mean, they want people to know, but they don't want it to be following them around everywhere. You can usually tell when somebody's doing it for publicity when it's like, oh, yeah, I'll tell you the whole story, Like, come over here,
Yeah.
And they'll do all the interviews and whatever. But it's kind of gives a bit of credibility, I think.
Oh, it gives a shitload of credibility.
Fascinating that I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those great stories that just never really caught the flame long enough to exist in our modern pop culture. Yeah. Not like you'd think. There is an example, and we're gonna get into that. I actually have your laptop right here, and I got some pictures pulled up, and I'm gonna go and show you a couple of them real quick, and then I'll go and talk about a little more information that I found. Okay. Here is one of the first depictions that they drew. This little guy right here.
That's Dungeons and Dragons looking motherfucker.
I said, this is one of the first ones. There's other drawings that are a little more poignant, but you see what I'm talking about the pointy ears and all that.
Skinny arms.
Yeah, and there's really skinny, dangling looking arms.
It kind of looks like a cartoon character.
A little bit.
A little exaggerated.
But like I said, it also depends on the art. It does depend on the artist sometimes too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show you the more popular depictions of these guys.
Now I don't know if the eyes quite fit the description, considering that from what I heard, they're glowing red with big eyes, right? Were they big eyes or little pinhole eyes?
Big, but the creatures themselves are small. So I guess it's big in relative to their body.
Okay, all right.
So, and like I said, that was just one artist's depiction. Here's a more common look at what these guys look like. These are the most famous pictures of the Sutton family goblins.
Okay, so I actually kind of believe these pictures a little more.
Yeah, you see the consistency. I'll be putting these on the website at some point, but obviously you can do your own research and look into these. But there's a famous picture where there's 3 drawings done by 3 different members, and I I could not tell you whose depiction was what right off the top of my head, but I know one of them was Lucky's, another one was Billy's, I believe, and the other one was either JC's or Glenny's. I can't quite remember. But you can see the pointy ears on all of them, the big eyes, and just the bodies with really long arms, really skinny legs.
Yeah.
You know, just
There's
very...
definitely something here.
Yeah.
I'm really fascinated, actually.
Right?
Okay, so usually with extraterrestrial, like, encounters, I think the reason the gray alien is so popular
Prevalent.
is because a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people have seen it. My dad, by the way, according to him, he has seen an alien. And,
Really?
And it wasn't just him, it was a few other friends of his. They were all in a car, they were driving down the road, it was really dark, and they just kind of saw it walking by the road. I believe he said it was like, like middle of nowhere, it's Texas, so we got a lot of that. But his description was small, gray or white, and big red glowing eyes. And he also told me that apparently everybody was shocked. Like it kind of like did something to them.
It's profound.
Yeah, because honestly, if you see something like that, if I saw something like that, I don't know how I would react. I don't know what I would say or do.
Honestly, I wouldn't personally know either. I would say I have more, I guess experience is the best word I could use, with more, ghostly and paranormal encounters in that sense.
Yeah.
Curses, myths, of a afterlife kind of variety. But aliens has always been that subject that really fascinated me. But it's like with everyone else, it's such a rare experience to actually be a part of. It's really just that observer kind of effect. Like, it fascinates you because also I believe that, like they do with filmmaking a lot of the times, your mind's ability to create a story is so much more powerful than the story being told to you.
The Blair Witch Project, for example.
Very much so.
Yeah, we never see it, but, it's
exactly. Even just the idea of, like, Bird Box, a recent movie that did phenomenally well. You never see the creatures.
And that's why it's so terrifying.
And the biggest reason that works so well is because nothing is scarier than what you come up with. And that's, is I think really what sells these alien stories so well. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're true. I'm just saying, if you ask me personally, with this case especially, that something happened. Aliens just happen to be a weird little puzzle piece that fits. Yeah. So, I have the Wikia, the Mothman fandom Wikia pulled up. I'm going to show you a couple other pictures that you might see around. Like, that's another description of them in the windows.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of funny though.
It is kind of funny. It is cartoonish.
Yeah.
But just imagining it in your window right now,
it fits the description.
Totally different context.
Yeah.
There's another famous depiction that you might see. You can see all the little goblins up on the roof and in the trees and all that. Looking more like what you would imagine. But like I said, there's a lot more information in on this. Another depiction similar to what we've seen, but there is some other facts that might be that you might be interested in knowing. Are you a big fan of Pokemon?
Somewhat. I've dabbled in it.
And forgive me if I say the name wrong. I'm not the biggest fan of Pokemon myself.
Yeah.
But have you ever heard of the Pokemon called Sableye?
So many of them. I don't think I have.
You might recognize what he looks like.
I probably will. That's the thing. I probably recognize what the Pokemon looks like. I don't know all of them by name.
This guy.
Oh, this guy. Oh.
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
little purple-looking dude with gems for eyes.
Oh, that looks familiar.
Yeah. He is based off the description of the Kentucky Goblins. The way that he walks and the way that he attacks is based exactly on the descriptions that were given during the reports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's also plays that were written about the encounter.
Really?
I
didn't know that.
I believe it's called like The Encounter in Kentucky or something like that.
Okay.
And even the town of Kelly and Hopkinsville, I believe, even have their own yearly festivals to mark the events.
What?
Yes. It's a whole... Oh, dude.
It's a phenomenon over there.
It really is. Yeah, let me see if I can... the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter was the basis for the Annoyance Theater musical It Came from Kentucky in Chicago. The sighting is also supposedly part of what inspired the movie E.T., that great Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah. this happened back in the 50s, so I can kind of see, how that would inspire a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I am kind of like I said, the fourth kind of vibes, the alien looking through the window. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I didn't want to dive too much into these guys because there's always, he said, she said, this guy's wrong, I got the full scoop. There's tons of tellings and retellings and re-retellings of what happened. But there is another event that, I forgot what I was looking up. But there is another event that I wanted to talk about just briefly because it definitely warrants its own discussion, its own episode. Maybe the next one, maybe a few episodes down from now. Because like I said, I kind of want to jump around. I don't want to get saturated in too much of one topic for too long. I don't want to do like 5 episodes of just aliens,
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's a place called Hellier. There's a documented series, I believe, short series called, It Happened in Hellier or something like that, where it happened in our modern day. I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to look it up. It happened in our modern day of a dude who, I spelled that wrong, who apparently had similar incidences in his little neck of the woods in Kentucky. I'm spelling this wrong. I'm so sorry. Incident. There we go. Okay, see if I can find it. Hellier. Okay, it's just called Hellier. Season 1, Season 2, you fish trailer, whatever.
This is all on YouTube?
These are.
Oh, that's just
Planet Weird, actually.
Okay.
But a lot of people call it the return of the Kentucky Goblins.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not done with these little bastards. But like I said, it's a lot of its own story for its own time. I'll leave that for the future if that's something you guys seem interested in. Or if I just really want to finish that story, I'll go ahead and bring it up then. But very long story short, an anonymous man bought some property out in Kentucky and reported, that there was these mines that were near where he lived. And reportedly, there was these weird incidences that were going on, fitting similar descriptions of the creatures that we've just heard about. And like I said, it's a similar location. He actually reaches out to a retired paranormal investigator. Kind of weird sentence, but the dude said, like, I know you really dive into ghosts more than anything. However, I have this situation, and he tries to explain, and then dude starts looking into it some more, and then the main dude just never talks about it again. Like, he just ghosts.
Huh.
Yeah. But apparently, nobody's been missing in this town, so it just seems like the dude just stopped talking about it. He just didn't want to bring attention to it anymore. Mm. So, like I said, it's a fascinating story. The Kelly-Hopkinsville Goblins, one of my favorite personal stories because it is so different from most of those alien encounter stories that you hear about. Yeah. Nobody's getting sucked up in a UFO. Nobody's having, memory loss. They can't recount the last few days or whatever. There's nothing like that. Nobody's even transporting, and I know this is, doesn't happen too often, but there's also the stories where people will be transported hundreds of miles, across the country or in another country in a matter of days without any, passport travel or any planes or boats or anything, wearing the exact same clothes as they were. I've heard a story about a dude who was, he was skiing in Canada, and then next moment he was gone. And the next day, he was found somewhere in California, still wearing his ski gear and all that.
I think what's funny about this story is the alien description is different from what we're used to.
Yeah, it is a little different. Now, of course, they're described as being 3 feet tall. They're every drawing that you see, they're either gray or some darkish color with big white, big eyes and all that.
I would say the one thing that's the most different because the little white gray alien, we've seen it before.
Yeah,
the ears. That's the thing that sticks out.
And I'm glad you brought that back up because some of the things, real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off. Was that some people don't believe that they were ears necessarily. Some people believe that they were some form of communication.
Makes sense.
Yeah, or communication or some weird headgear to help protect them. That's why they weren't dying from the gunshots. Yeah. All kinds of speculation. We don't know. But yeah, I mean, the description is, it's similar to the grays that we hear, but it's distinct enough that it really, once you get into it, it's like, well, what's going on here? Because it does, like I said, when you see the picture, it really does make you think, oh, that's a goblin. Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need any convincing of it. So, yeah, like I said, this was just a really interesting story that I've been wanting to talk about for some time, and I've got a whole bookload of these. So, any final thoughts? You know,
I'm actually really glad you brought that to my attention. I've never heard of this story before, and I got to say it's pretty cool. I like learning new things. And I don't know if because the whole thing with aliens is that I haven't seen one. It's very hard to believe in something.
Exactly. It is hard to believe in something that you don't witness.
Yeah, but I will say my dad having seen one, I believe my dad. Like, I don't think he'd ever lie to me. He has no reason to lie to me. In fact, he hasn't really been posting about this ever. So it's not like he's doing it for attention.
Exactly. And that was another point. Like, a lot of people thought that they were doing this for attention, and no, they very clearly weren't. You know, they just were scared and wanted to get the story out. They thought people were going to help them. But then when they realized people were only going to use them for, media gain for themselves, they said, fuck it. We're not doing this. You're not helping us. You don't care.
They're small farmers. They're just trying to,
They're just trying to live.
Yeah.
That's it. And I can respect it. I really can. I applaud them for talking to people about it, because if they didn't, we probably wouldn't have this story.
Yeah.
It'd probably be that weird little town story that nobody really talks about, that doesn't really get out. But because they did talk about it, and because the events were so unique, it led to such a interesting tale that is now part of Appalachian folklore. But who knows? The truth is out there, from X-Files.
Yeah.
I love that show, man.
It's a good show. I haven't seen it in a while, but man,
I'm actually personally rewatching it.
My favorite episode is the one with the Peaks guy who turns out to be a vampire.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a pretty good one.
It's a weird one, but I love it.
One of my favorites was when the AI system takes over for a virtual reality game. They're playing like laser tag and all that, and this character, this enemy that was part of it, now becomes real, and is actually killing people.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I always. Maybe it might be a discussion for a different time.
It's
but
okay.
I like seeing the whole our interpretation of virtual reality and all.
I love that, dude. Sci-fi is my personal bread and butter when it comes to storytelling. If you ask me to come up with a story, I love fantasy, but odds are I'm going to come up with science fiction.
Yeah,
it's great. I even like reading Isaac Asimov's old stories, short stories like The Last Question on Earth or of Humanity, I believe it's called. And in the end, when long story short, it's a very short story. It's this grand machine that humans made whenever they're advancing in society, and they become extraplanetary creatures. And then, they ask this great divine machine, a question about can entropy ever be reversed or something like that? And the computer says, that there's not enough information to tell right now. Another several thousand years, 100,000 years go by. They ask it again. Again, it's still trying to calculate all the answers, and it says there's not enough information. And then it keeps going and going, and humans constantly transcend to the point where they're now escape their physical bodies. They're all, one mind.
Yeah.
And again, near the end of the life of the universe, the machine finally has an answer, and its answer restarts the universe. Yeah, it's weird stories that really get you thinking, and for once, technology's not the enemy.
Yeah.
A lot of the times in science fiction, like HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey, you can see that as an antagonistic force, or iRobots. You can see Vicky and Sunny, the two biggest AI programs that you really give character to, both opposing views on, digital autonomy to these AI systems. Can they be good? Can they be bad? It's messy. It's hard to tell.
I love it whenever people just mash up those two, the weird spiritual side of science fiction.
Yes, it's so good,
dude. Neon Genesis Evangelion, The Matrix. That's my
jam. Matrix. Oh, dude, that's what really got me into everything. And if you like, sci-fi and stuff like that, there's actually a little series on YouTube that might be worth watching. I'll be able to pull it up later and really show you what it is, but it's a little cyberpunk story. I believe it's called Interface. Yeah, it's really worth watching. It's a short, series animated by one dude. I think there's 6 or 7 episodes that and really delves into like questions of like what does it mean to be you, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's about a man who can't die and stuff. It's all just really, really unique. But you know, we don't know. We're just making stories.
Yeah.
You know, and with this especially, we're just retelling stories.
I mean,
You know,
this is what's going on.
It's weird to say, but I think this is as close to science fiction as we're going to get personally. Is these encounters like this? You know, it's as close to the story. You know, art imitating life, I guess, at this point.
I still wonder what's going on, dude. Like beyond here, beyond this realm, beyond our planet.
But yeah, you know, we're getting to the end of this. You know, we're just rambling on at this point. And I'm so glad you were able to join me in on this too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and hope that we can talk about more stories. And if you guys, you know, listening enjoyed the story that we have, hopefully you're going to enjoy any of the future stories that we have. I have a couple lined up. Not too sure which one I want to talk about. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I really enjoyed this. I enjoy the story and talking to you about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to doing another episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so with everything going on, of course, we're in the middle of the coronavirus. So I'll quickly just say, you know, make sure you guys stay clean. Make sure you guys stay indoors as much as you can. Stay with your loved ones. Isolation sucks. It really, really sucks.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Cover your face. You know, don't go out if you don't need to. And just know that we love you. You know, this is going to be a really hard time, and hopefully I can help entertain you guys through this tough time. You know, give you a little bit of light. You know, something to do, something to really delve into in the free time you do have. So with nothing else, real quick, I didn't plan on this being, you know, every Tuesday necessarily, because we are trying to figure out a habit. We're starting to, you know, learn this and make it our own. So I can't promise we'll be back next Tuesday. It could be Sunday, it could be Thursday. Don't know. But trust that we will be back. And when we are, we will have another great story to talk about. So with nothing else, we love you guys. We hope you have a safe time with everything going on.